Thank you for coming to hang out with us. This is Gain and Glow, a happy lifestyle podcast with me, Vanessa.
And me, Crystal.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
You want to go ahead and hit us with the dope quote?
Yeah, forgot what I was doing here. Today's dope quote is from Lady Gaga, who I don't think needs any introduction. So, I won't. You have to be unique and different and shine in your own way. And there's Leo in the background. He approves.
He agrees. Yeah,
he feels very strongly about this quote today.
Yeah, this is something that Leo, we've always known he's been passionate about individuality, and he's been very strong in that. We honestly appreciate him being brave enough to speak up on the podcast.
He's a very vocal boy. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm excited for our second part episode about diet culture.
Yes. So if you listened last week, then you know that this week we're doing part 2 of our episode on diet culture, or our pieces on diet culture. Last week we talked a lot about how diet culture can be toxic and why. It gets you stuck in those loops of needing to constantly restart after the increment of time that they, arbitrarily apply to the diet. They set you up to fail because they're only really, a lot of it's motivated to make money. So keeping you in that cyclical repetition helps drive that money. And then, of course, emphasizing on weight instead of health. So this week we're going to talk more about how to take all of that information in, filter out the nonsense, and then create a life that you actually want to live. And obviously, we can only really speak to how we personally have done that, failed, and then found success at, digging through and siphoning through all of that information.
Yeah, so I know, last week's episode, I talked a little bit about my experience with Slip Fast, the South Beach Diet, Whole30. I don't even know all the ones I've tried. Anything you see on Pinterest that says 2 weeks, 10 pounds. Yeah, been there, done that, And most of the time it was I was kind of doing what I said, where I wasn't really keeping track of my actions and behaviors that I was doing every day before I started a different diet plan. So every time I started one, I crashed. I crashed really hard. I'd have headaches. I'd feel really hungry all the time. I'd feel really moody and fatigued. And it was because I gave my body no time to adjust to all the changes I wanted to make. So, out of all the times I've tried to lose weight over 20, how old am I? 33? Over 15, I don't know, let's just say 15 years, since I've been an adult, it's all been trial and error. And so this last time that I got really serious about it was when I hired, when I was full on, I was on anxiety and depression medication, and I felt nothing was improving. I was job's not improving, home life's the same, I want to feel better, and I don't know how to feel better. And so I knew that I needed to be working out, because I knew that's something I hadn't been doing at all pretty consistently. So I hired a personal trainer to keep me accountable. I didn't feel like I could afford him. I put him on a credit card, so I really couldn't afford him at the time, but I knew that it was worth it for me because I needed someone to keep me consistent. And all through my life, I thought that somebody needed to be there with me, doing it with me, in order for me to be successful. And it's not really the case. My husband has never ate the same way that I've eaten, nor does his body work the same way that my body works. So it's not fair to put your results on someone else's shoulders. You're just constantly you spend more time worrying about if they're doing what you're doing and relying on if they slip up that you can slip up instead of really just focusing on keeping yourself accountable. And so with my personal trainer, he helped me stay accountable because he just expected me to be there, and he literally walked me through each workout so I didn't have to think about it, which is what I needed for the first couple months. And so after I got comfortable with doing all the movements in the gym and all the like equipment and stuff, and I didn't need to do cardio, that was the first time in my life where I like thought that I was told I didn't have to do cardio to lose weight. And isn't that like a wild thing? Like, how hard do they push like cardio on us when really it's like you need to move your body, and like lifting weights feels really good. And then I'd only do like a 30-minute jog, maybe 2 times a week, like it was not a big part. And a lot of the times it was doing a warm up, like doing that run or even just a incline walk for 15-30 minutes before working out to get my body warmed up for what I'm about to do. So I totally recommend like doing doing some kind of warm up that maybe it's also your cardio, and then you don't even have to worry about cardio. And then lifting weights and body weight exercises are super good. And so many people question whether or not you should do body weight or lift weights or do cardio. You should do what is enjoyable to you, but also know that different types of movements benefits your body in different ways. So like you got super into kickboxing and I was getting super into weightlifting. And then you brought me over to the kickboxing world, and that kicked my butt. Like I had already been working out pretty consistently for probably 6 months or so. And then I went into one of those classes and I was so winded. Like I couldn't catch my breath. And it's because it's a high intensity workout and I wasn't doing those at all. But it's also super beneficial. After doing like a few of those classes with you, my like lung capacity improved, I think. I could breathe through the workouts when I couldn't do it before, because they just don't let you stop in those kickboxing classes. Because I think it's like a solid 45 minutes of like warm-up exercises, body weight exercises, and then kickboxing, like hitting the bag, which hitting a surface, I don't know if you guys have done it, hitting a surface is putting resistance on your body. So it was kind of funny because even though I had been doing weightlifting, kickboxing worked out my forearms like I've never felt before in my life. I feel all the tiny, teeny, like million shoulder muscles apparently that I have from like the impact of hitting a fist to a bag and the reverberation. Is that a word?
I think so. I think it is.
Through my whole arm, like worked out my arms, like upper body in ways that I hadn't even done, even though I'd been working out pretty good. So it's like, it's so important, I think, with movement to find something that you enjoy so that you can stay consistent. Because I think the name of the game is consistency. Because like you said, with these diets, like they put a time limit on it. But like, honestly, I want to continue to lose weight and gain strength after I finish a diet. So if you haven't really picked up anything from the experience of trying one of those, then you didn't learn anything. You're like back to where you were a month ago. And so many people, like, I know I do it too. It's like we lean on our excuses because circumstances aren't always perfect, and they never are. Like I was working out after work 3 or 4 times a week. There might have been one time that I wanted to go. Like, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to, like, eat the same foods over and over. But it was easy for me to know, like, I already knew how the foods affected me. I already know that I felt good when I ate them. So even though I'm, like, tired and hungry, it would be better for me to eat something I had made at home than to like go through a drive-thru. So I made those constant little choices of better choices And then when I really truly wanted something, I would eat it. And when I needed a rest day, I would take it, because rest is just as important to like your ability to recover and your body functioning. Like you're statistically more hungry, and you're more likely to lean into grabbing something sugary if you're tired, because your body is telling you, I need something to feel better. And what it really needs is sleep. But you're like, oh, coffee? You said iced coffee? And I don't know how many times I used to be that person. Like, I'm tired, straight to coffee. Extra coffee. Maybe I'll put a little caramel syrup in it, liven things up, you know? And it's like... It's just like extra. There's so many ways that like extra calories can sneak into your life too, that like if you're not aware of all your daily habits, then when you get restrictive, you think you have to like not eat. Like so one of my articles on our website, GainAndGlow.com. Yeah. I don't want to give up hot Cheetos, because hot Cheetos are like they're like my chip. They're like the chip I love. And so I don't have to give those up, but I don't have to eat like a whole snack size bag. Like I can eat like with those little tiny mini bags, or I portion it out. And it's like sometimes you have self-control issues with foods that, you know, possibly like, you know, cause your body to have a reaction to like want more of it. So then don't keep them in the house. Like try to remove temptations, but also try to have balance in your life. Maybe like your cheat meal is like, you don't even have to have cheat meals. Like you just be like, today's a day that I'm just going to eat how I want to eat. And like, even when I've done days like that, I've still lost weight. I still feel good the next day, because it's about what your consistent habits are, so that when you have something that you want, it doesn't make you feel like you have to start over. So many times you start for a few days, you eat bad once, and you go, well, I'll just wait till tomorrow then. And like, I'll wait till after the weekend. And it's like, well, yeah, you're just giving yourself an excuse to like not make consistent choices for yourself in the direction you want to head. Because at the end of a month, you go, if I restarted every week for a month, I'd probably be the exact same weight, because you're counteracting the few good days with the few off days, and they just kind of balance each other out, which is natural. And I think if you're not tracking how you're eating and how you're moving, how you're feeling every day, you really won't have a clear picture of if you've been consistent or not, which if you don't track that and you see no progress at the end of 30 days, you get really hard on yourself. You tell yourself that you failed and that everything you tried wasn't worth it and it wasn't working. And it's like, that's not true. Your consistency wasn't working, like wasn't happening. So you couldn't get a different goal. You couldn't go for the goal if you continue to live the way you're living, which is why I think it's so important to like, you have to learn to like listen to your body, and you have to track. Like if you're hungry, eat. But like I learned with my oatmeal, I thought like, oh, I'm eating oatmeal for breakfast. This is good. Well, I was also putting peanut butter and brown sugar with it. A spoonful of peanut butter is 90 calories. But also I was pouring oatmeal into my bowl. I wasn't measuring it out. So half a scoop of oatmeal is 150 calories, but I was pouring about a cup. So then I was automatically having 300 calories. Then I was having 90 of peanut butter, and then I was throwing brown sugar on it. So that's like a 400 calorie bowl of oatmeal, where I think I'm being healthy, but I'm not. Like, I mean, you're still being healthy, but like, it's not a calorie deficit, you know? It's not a portion. Like, it's 2 portions. And like, you don't know that kind of stuff is happening until you track it. Whether you measure it or you log calories or you just write out what you're eating.
Yeah, I learned that pretty quick when I, like, just like you, I've tried the paleo diet. I've tried Atkins. I've tried keto. I have done the HCG diet where you put the drops under your tongue. That one, so that is probably the worst one that I would tell everyone, if you listen to me right now, do not do the HCG diet. It is the most unhealthy, unrealistic plan that I've ever encountered. The very first week has you cut your calories down to almost 500 calories. Not by, I'm saying to. Yeah, it has you cut down to like 500 calories on some of the days. And you're living on like nothing. Like, it's crazy. And they say the drops are supposed to quell your hunger and all this stuff, and people drop weight so quick on it because they're literally starving themselves. It's insanely dangerous. People have literally died doing that diet. Do not do that one. Oy. But I've done them all. I've been trying to lose weight my whole life, because when I was like 10, I was like bullied and stuff for being a little bit chunky, and then, you know, I felt the pressure early on from society to be something that I was not, and it started this crazy cycle of trying all these different things, and it's taken so long for me to get to a place where I realize that there's just a certain point that you have to take all of this in and go, okay, yes, absolutely. If I cut my calories severely and I don't eat any sugar and I don't touch a single carb and I don't even smell a dessert, like, I can lose weight, and then I'm going to hit those kickboxing classes 6 days a week. Yes, I can do that. And yes, I will lose weight. I've done it before. That's how I lost the most weight that I've ever lost. I did it doing that. The problem is that those never allotted me real life instances and like success through those. The like you were saying before, it's like, you know, that 30 days, it puts you in this situation where you're like, you can't take a rest day on the day you want to take a rest day because that's a workout day. So you have this pre-planned thing telling you this is the time frame you need to do all these things in, and if you don't, you fail. And unfortunately, life is not this life is not a sitcom. As much as I wish that it was, honestly, I do. It's not. We don't know what's going to happen. And if like, I know in the past, I have tried to stick to these 30-day plans and these like 15-day workout plans and stuff, even in a chill scale. Even when I'm just like on the Fabletics Fit app and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to do their 15-day like Arm Express. The problem with that though is that I live a life where there's a lot of variables. At any point in a day, my next day can change and look different. So when I sign up for these things, I'm already setting myself up to fail, because there is going to be a day where it's a workout day and I need to take a rest day, or I need to do something else, or I simply will not have time in my day to work out that day. And when I'm shaping my own schedule and when I'm controlling my own fitness regime, that works for me. There's some days where I'm like, you know what? I plan to go for a run in the morning, or I plan to do, you know, weights or whatever, but it didn't work out because the dog puked on the carpet, and then, you know, we forgot that we had an appointment. Like, you know, there's things that happen, and that's how life is. That's how life should be. And these plans, these fixed models of like what we should do day to day really should, in my mind, I've learned those are a suggestion. Now I'm like, okay, well, yesterday was a workout day, tomorrow was a rest day, but I needed the rest day today. I'll work out tomorrow, because as long as I know that I'm doing what I need to live healthy, then I feel good. I don't feel guilty about that. I refuse to feel guilty. And when it comes to restricting food, there is so much emphasis on, like you said, like restricting. There's so much where it's like, you can't. And when you focus on only what you can't have, you want it more. Instead of focusing on the things that you can indulge in. And I am 100% committed now to like living this life that brings me joy. And I simply do not care what other people's opinions are of my body, because that's their business. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with whatever they feel. If they're uncomfortable with my weight, that says something to something about their internal monologue. It has nothing to do with my fitness level. There's this amazing dancer that we follow her on Instagram. We talked about her, Amanda LeCount, I think is how you pronounce her last name. She's a dancer and she's amazing. And she's trying to break this stereotype that in order to be an amazing fit dancer, you have to be like this cookie cutter shape that has been mass produced. And she's just not that. She's just herself. And these diets, they rob us of that individuality. They blanket this identity over us where we're all keto. Like, I'm not Vanessa. I'm keto. Like, I'm a keto person. I'm on keto, or I'm a vegan, or whatever. Like, when we do these things, not because they're fundamentally true to who we are, we do them just because we want to lose weight, or because Kim Kardashian told us that the tea is going to help us lose weight. We're building a foundation of fluff. And so when you fall even harder, because you're not a vegan because you believe in the moral like cost of eating meat. You're a vegan because you're trying to lose weight on something. You're not gonna stick to it as likely, unless you in that process learn more about why people go vegan, you know. And it's just this concept of taking all of these diets in and going, first of all, let's start normalizing saying you are full of nonsense. Like, there are certain concepts that are downright ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's funny that, like, 50, 60 years ago, they had those shake band workout machines where they literally were like a belt around your butt or around your stomach, and they just shook your whole body. And the literal ads were that they were going to shake the weight off. That's ridiculous. But in that time, people bought them. And that was like the beginning of this money-making industry where nobody cared if they were working. Everyone cared that they were being told that they were going to work. And that was so much more appealing than actually like exercising or actually adapting a healthy lifestyle. And now we've evolved so much as a culture with nutrition and fitness and health. And I mean, medically, we're so advanced. We know a lot of this is nonsense. We know a lot of this stuff is short term. We just don't want to accept it because it's hard. It's hard to do that work, but it's necessary if you actually want, like you said, I want to keep losing weight or getting more strong and more healthy after the fact. And then with that same concept, like after I lose the weight that I carry, that personally for my stature and my health issues, my pre-existing conditions makes me less healthy. Once I reach the goal of weight health, that doesn't mean I'm done. Then I'm in my 30s. I got to start looking at cholesterol. I have to start looking at insulin levels. I mean, we've got scans. There's a plethora of things that this idea of weight equaling health is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. There's certain things that are very obvious that are unhealthy, and there's certain things that are ambiguous. And each of us individually has to adapt these concepts. If you have high cholesterol, a high fat diet is not for you. So keto is probably something you want to avoid. I decided to join in this. I'm pretty sure they're referred to as diet bets. And this is not throwing any shade at my family, but the women in my family decided to do this thing where everyone joined up together, put in a certain amount of money, and then every week they try to, lose weight and reach these goals. And, there's money tied behind it. It's a diet bet is what it is. It's a fitness challenge diet bet. And I didn't want to do it at first, but I decided to end up doing it. And I'll tell you, the number one thing that I've learned from doing it is that, first of all, I probably won't do another one. And again, this is no shade, but this is not something that is for me that I would do again, because it puts too much value on weight loss and not enough value on the variables that go behind each individual person. There are individuals in our group that range in age by decades. So to put the same expectation on a woman who's in her 30s, 40s, or 50s that we would put on a woman who's in her 20s, honestly, to put the expectations on a 20s or 30s that we would on a 40s or 50s, it isn't realistic. And we all have all different lifestyles and conditions and food intolerances, all of these different variables, they do not level the playing field. So you can't truly win in one of these diets or these diet bets because you're not, you might not lose as much weight as somebody if your BMI is 12 and theirs is 45. They have more weight to lose than you do, but at the same time, how much of that is muscle in comparison to actual visceral fat, and there's just these variables that I'm so I feel like maybe this is me being anti-system, a little bit of my teenage anarchy, but I'm I refuse to assimilate to a system that doesn't address me as my individual person. I refuse. And every time I see these diets come around, and every time this time of year pops up, I start to get a little bit cynical about that. Because first of all, my weight it is no reflection of my success, my personality, how great I am. I'm awesome no matter what I weigh, first of all. That's just a fact. What I think one would say, I took a DNA test and it turns out but it's this toxic diet culture that just perpetuates, especially around this time of year, that feeds on our insecurities and it feeds on guilt and shame and cheating and these negative connotations behind when we do indulge. It's just not healthy, and it's not the type of life that I want to live. One week, I might not lose a single pound, but then the next week, I might lose 1.5 pounds. At the end of the month, it might all balance out. I don't know, and I'm not concerned with that as much, as long as I know I'm moving in the right direction and the choices I make, each individual choice, I can stand behind and be confident of. That's when I'm no, I know what I'm doing and I know it's working for me, but I will never preach it to anybody else other than being look, eat clean, move more, and drink a ton of water. How much water you're drinking right now, drink more than that, because you're probably not drinking enough.
Yeah, I think too, this time around, even though it's been a year and a half or something since I've been in a gym, and even though I have a home gym set up, I don't use it as much as I want to, but right now with all the stress that I've been going under, just to get started back on wanting to on my weight loss journey, because I still have 30 pounds I want to lose. It's I'm focusing purely on what I'm eating and journaling. That's what I'm doing right now. And it's already been a little over a week, and it's working for me. It's my body was stressed out the first couple of days because I had already quit drinking coffee, and then I got my vaccine shot, which also kind of knocks you out a little bit. I just felt really fatigued the day after. And then the following day, it was okay, well now your body's kind of recovering, and also you're still not choosing to have caffeine, so it's a little rough. But so I just focused on my eating, and I'm already starting to lose weight, and I'm drinking more water, and my energy's already improved. And that's without doing any extra physical activity. It's like my eating clean is focusing on making food at home versus eating out. And that's like step one. Like your step one could be anything. It could be ordering less. Like order less frequently. Drink more water. And then, in a couple of days, order less again. Continue to drink more water. Like making little X's on your calendar on days that you kept your habits is a really good reflection of showing if the habits that you're trying to change are working. Like, is it working for you? Like, take note.
Yes, and take note when they don't work for you and why.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, if it didn't work, maybe it's because you took on too much. Maybe it's because it just was a bad day. These are the same patterns apply, and it's more about understanding that that's totally cool, bro. It's totally fine.
It's all a learning experience, and the more the more data you have, the better the better answers you can get, and then you can know where to go from there. You can feel less inundated with all the possibilities and stuff that's out there in the world and all the different people telling you how to do it, and just find out what works for your own body. Because our 30s are different than our 20s.
Absolutely. Absolutely they are. I can vouch for that. And more than anything, more important than anything, talk to a medical professional about your health. It's like this sounds so infomercially, and I know that they say this in front of like certain like workout videos and certain diets, like consult with your no, dead serious. Talk to a doctor before you start an extreme diet, because you can accidentally hurt yourself. There's certain, like, I tried to jump back into kickboxing after taking a few weeks off of falling into a little bit of a depression, eating really badly, not moving, and I hurt myself and put myself down for another week. And that was just a physical pull. There's so much that can happen inside of your body if you put it under an extreme amount of stress, whether it be through diet or exercise or a combination of both. And do not take diet pills or HCG drops. They will drop you quicker than they will drop those pounds. Oh. Those are so dangerous. They're so dangerous.
Yes. Yeah. I might have had some, what is it? It's not Slim Flat. What was that? I don't even know if they make it
the
anymore.
ephedrine.
I used to take the little drink packets that were basically like caffeine jittery stuff, and I also took some pills. And all they did was like give me anxiety before I knew I had anxiety.
Yeah, and there's some supplements out there. There's like pre-workouts, there's supplemental teas, there's all kinds of things. They are not regulated by the FDA. They're not approved in any way. There's ways that they can bypass like a food grade approvals by calling it something else. There are certain things that are marketed as health foods and diet foods and stuff that are actually incredibly toxic or incredibly unhealthy. And sometimes your body, like you said, sometimes your body literally just needs time to reset after something that, like you had the vaccine and stuff. Sometimes those diets put you in a state where your body's like in survival mode, and you just need to pull back and just give it some time. You might gain a couple pounds, but stay on the healthy track, and everything is going to turn out okay, if not better. Eat clean, move more, and drink so much more water than you are.
Yeah, and don't judge your results based on 2 weeks or a week. Like, wait a full month to see if what you've been doing has been working. And if that doesn't work, do another month. I mean, we got no shortness of time here. Like,
Exactly. If you need to extend a 30-day workout plan to a 35-day workout plan because you added a couple of extra rest days, that's nothing to be like mad at yourself about, ever.
Yeah, I think we have to take a lot of the guilt off of ourselves so that we can actually focus on making progress instead of getting hung up on the things that we feel we're lacking or not doing.
Yeah. And every body is a swimsuit body. Every body is a summer body. These are man-made ideals. When we start talking, get your summer body back. No. That is a weird concept if you really even think about it. We don't exchange bodies during seasons. We exchange our self-care routines and our moisturizers. Yes, but your body is a summer. It's an all-year body. This is it's the only one you get.
You should love your body all year round,
all the time. You literally only get one. As of right now, I'm, who knows what, modern medicine will evolve into. But right now, you only get one.
Vanessa's ready for a robot arm.
Until I get adamantium bones, this is the only body we have. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you find your podcast to stay up to date with our new episodes every Wednesday.
Also, head on over and follow us on Facebook and Instagram and say hello while you're there. And don't forget to drink some water, take a deep breath. You've got this.